All right, good morning. Week 2 feedback for year 10. Let's get straight on with it, shall we? So, the question that I sat you was to how useful is this source to historians studying how Suez came under British control? And the cartoon was here, and we'll go through the cartoon in a second. Hopefully, there was enough information on Suez to get this done. Um, so, the question then is asking you to focus on how it is useful, not how it is not useful. Now, to ask you that question, what it's really doing is it's saying, what do you know when you look at this? How is it useful based on what you know, your knowledge? Okay, so whenever you get asked something, if someone tells you a fact, immediately you will think about what you know, and you will judge on how useful what they're saying is. Okay, so if it doesn't match your own knowledge, then that's not useful to you. If it does match your own knowledge, then that is something that is useful to you. Okay, so if someone was talking to you about, say, a football team, and they said that Liverpool football team is the best team in England, and you immediately thought, well, yeah, they won the Champions League, they're sitting at the top of the table this year. That's accurate because I know what I know matches what that person's saying. However, someone else might say, well, actually, Liverpool have never won the Premier League. And they haven't actually won any major domestic titles in a long time. And a team like Manchester United or Chelsea has got a better track record recently. So using my knowledge, I don't find what they're saying useful because it doesn't match what I think. So let's have a look at this. There are two key areas to take here. Okay, so there are two areas that I would write about if this was my question. The first one is this one, okay? So there is a bag of money that says 4 million on it, all right? And we know what this is because we have seen this amount before. 4 million is the amount the British government paid the president of Egypt for the Suez Canal. So straight away we know that this bit of information over here matches our own knowledge. Now, what we also have is we have this. We have this lion. And this lion represents England. Okay, so the lion represents England. It's huge, it's massive because England is powerful. And under the lion's paw is a key which says India on it. And we know that the Suez Canal was the access point to India. That's what Britain wanted to get to. It wanted to get to India, and the journey to get to India, you used to have to go around the whole of Africa. Now, if you have the Suez Canal, you can actually get to Africa a lot quicker. So I need to come up with 2 paragraphs, 2 bits of my knowledge, 2 parts of this cartoon that I need to talk about. So I would talk about this part of the cartoon, the money being exchanged because it matches my own knowledge, and I would talk about the lion holding the key to India. And it's saying the lion's share, obviously, because Britain gets the most out of it. So I'd say point 1 and point 2. So my own knowledge, I need to think about what own knowledge I can include. So what would I include? I'd say that the canal is an important trade link connecting the Mediterranean Sea to the Indian Ocean. I'd say that the canal it cuts the journey down significantly. So the original journey was 19,000 or almost 20,000 kilometres. The new route is 11.6 kilometres from London to Mumbai. And it also misses out the southern tip of Africa, which is an incredibly dangerous sea route. 80% of ships start using the canal, okay? So when I'm talking about the lion and how big it is and how powerful Britain becomes, I would be talking about this journey being cut down and them getting access to India. I'd then try and find some own knowledge to support this. Now, Egypt was suffering from financial difficulty, and as a result, the British were able to buy the controlling share in the canal. It was now under their control, no force was needed. The government borrowed £4 million from the Rothschild family. Okay, so that is this bag. That's what this bag represents. This is the handover of money to the Egyptian government to take control. By 1882, Britain had gained control of the whole country and thousands of soldiers were permanently based there. Egypt was also part of the Sudan, which fought back against the British, eventually coming under British control in 1899. after a number of brutal military campaigns under Lord Kitchener. So, when I look at this cartoon, my first paragraph would be to do with this arrow, and I would say in the picture I can see a British politician handing over a bag of £4 million to the Egyptian government. This matches my knowledge because I know that the British were able to buy the canal because the Egyptians were under severe financial difficulties. This is important because it meant that Britain could take control of the canal without actually using force. Okay, and that makes this picture useful. I'd then say I can also see a large lion holding a key to India. The lion here represents Britain's power. This matches my knowledge because I know that the acquisition of the Suez Canal meant that the journey from London to Mumbai was cut down from 19.8 kilometres to 19.8 thousand kilometres to 11.6 thousand kilometres, shortening the distance, giving Britain closer connections to India. Okay, I'd say this is important because it allowed Britain to become more powerful, and it meant that Britain controlled a very important resource, which was the Suez Canal, and 80% of the ships going through it were British. So that makes this picture useful because what you can see matches what you know. Now let's have a look at an answer. Okay, so this is an answer that I took at random. This source is useful because it shows Britain buying Egypt shares. Yes, that's a good point, but you need to be more specific about what you can see in the image. You know, be really obvious. There's a man from the British government handing over a bag of money marked 4 million to the Egyptian government. This matches my knowledge because Egypt was poor. Yes, this was important because Britain then made an offer, as shown with a bag, to buy the controlling shares of the Suez Canal. You know, if you could mention a fact, if you could drop your fact about, you know, it being £4 million, if you can mention your fact about the Rothschild family, you know, you could get more marks here. This answer, you know, it's not developed enough. It's almost, you know, an examiner would see it as quite as a lazy answer. The person who's completed this hasn't put in a lot of effort to kind of dictate to the examiner what he knows. He's just stating quite basic facts, and as a result, it wouldn't get very high up in the mark scheme. Another reason this source is useful is because it shows the line representing the assets. This matches my own knowledge because the Suez Canal is a big asset. This is important because the canal was very useful as it made shipping easier for Britain, and securing a deal like this was important. Yes, 100%, but it's too generic. How does it make shipping easier? It cut down the sea route. It cut down the journey. It made getting to India safer and faster. Okay, you've got to add the facts. You don't have to say the exact number of kilometres, but talking about the actual sea journey and what it cuts out and why it is so much faster would get you more marks here. So this answer would get maybe 3 out of 8 marks, okay, because it's not developed enough. You haven't used enough of your own knowledge. You haven't used enough facts, and you know, overall, you've got to link it back to how useful the source is. So when you are doing sources like this, the key to it is specific own knowledge, okay, and actually really being clear about how your knowledge links to the picture you're looking at. All right, keep working, keep getting me your answers. Okay, I've been impressed by some of the ones that have come in, but please do not stop. Okay, keep in this good routine and have a good week. Thank you very much.